The open carry of firearms in Florida. A court ruling said the previous ban on open carry is unconstitutional. Now, the Republican-led legislature will have to turn that ruling into a new set of guidelines. The court ruling does not end prohibition on firearms in places like schools and courthouses, but it is raising many questions and a lot of debate. iPulse has reaction from local lawmakers on both sides of the political aisle.
What happens if a business puts a sign up, which I think they can, saying we don't want open carry in our property? Will that business, if somebody doesn't obey that, doesn't comply with the law, will they be subject to trespass, which is a criminal felony? So I think it makes our state a lot less safe. I am a strong supporter in the Constitution as an attorney, but I don't think that the Second Amendment was drafted with the idea that people were going to be walking around with AR-47s. We understand that that there needs to be limits, just like there's limits on the First Amendment. And when you can't yell fire in a crowded theater, there should be limits on what people can do under their Second Amendment rights. I will tell you, for the first time in my 16 years at the Florida Capitol, I have seen pictures now of our sergeant at arms walking around with long rifles. They never did before. This is a new thing. This just happened since the open carry law went into effect, because right now, the way the law is written, you can bring a gun into the Capitol. You cannot bring it into chambers. You cannot bring it into committee meetings. But you can bring it into the Capitol. So we could start seeing people come into my office. That's part of the Capitol. It's not a chamber. It's not a committee meeting with a rifle or a long gun or something like that. So it's disturbing.
The Attorney General has stated that he will not be enforcing the laws that prohibit open carry. But that being said, here in the legislature, we have some work to do. And in order to catch up to the Supreme Court ruling, of course, states are allowed to be more extreme and more strict than the federal government. However, in this case, I think that now there's an appetite to, in fact, enact this legislation. I wouldn't be surprised to see that legislation filed here coming up and a repealer to allow for open carry legally. I'm a firm believer in our Second Amendment rights. And yes, I absolutely believe in open carry. I have lots of friends in Texas, as a matter of fact, and they've had it out there for many years, and as a result, they've seen crime go down in various places. All that being said, I'm also a responsible gun owner and have gone through training and gone through different things like that, as has my wife and my kids. So I think Florida has a long history of respecting private businesses and respecting personal property rights. And so if that private business chooses to do their business practices in one way or another, as long as it is not if you will, really impacting individuals themselves, then they can do what they want. And I think that would include a prohibition of firearms walking into that business.